You know what? I mean, I saw a lot of the stuff he was doing, and he was big on this guy. I mean, and I guess they both had a good time because they showed up places really looking stoned. Oh, but anyway, you know, they're from Hollywood. It's kind of what you expect, so it doesn't bother me at all as long as they're in Hollywood and I'm here.
Anything about the tattoos? Anything about the meaning of his tattoos or anything like that?
Well, the tattoo on his arm was the exact same tattoo on his journal, one of the journals he wrote.
And what was written around the time of the journal? What was he thinking and what was on his mind at that time?
Well, I'll tell you what, at that time he was newly in prison and he was just ranting. I mean, he talked crazy. The only way I can put it. There was no substance to it. He just would go off talking about all kinds of weird stuff, but nothing that made any sense at all. Now, the second journal that was around 2005, 2006 time frame, that had substance in it. He was talking about his art show, and he had made the statement in one of the journals that he is only about himself and how he could make a buck after this. He made up his mind that he was done with everything, and if it wasn't anything in it for him, he wasn't messing with it.
I've seen online some drawings that he's done where he depicts himself as a vampire and stuff. Do you find any drawings in his work there?
The drawings we found weren't like that. He had a couple that he had done of like dragons and with some writing on it, and he had wrote his name on it, so I knew it was from him. And plus, all the writings I had that he's done in the books, and you know where he wrote on the backs of pages and stuff. You know, like when you open a book and there's a blank page, he'd write stuff in there. So I know his handwriting when I saw it, and you could tell it is.
Was there ever any writings in his journal or any other writings where he just had like normal, any kind of normal behavior that wasn't bizarre, that wasn't unusual? Anything just like normal?
Well, I'm sure there was some that was normal, but you know, you tend to focus on the abnormal when you're trying to do what we're doing. But there wasn't very much, I can tell you that. When he did his second journal, that was when I would call it normal stuff, because he was trying to make a buck, and you could tell he was trying to make a buck. He talked about the DNA samples and how he was pissed because they're taking so long with this and that about it, and he talked about the art show they were going to do, a book that he had wrote, you know, those kind of things.
Did he ever say, boy, I'm wrongly convicted, this is who I think did it?
He never said that he thinks this is who did it, ever.
Right. Does he ever
anything that I read in there?
Does he ever talk about, boy, I'm in here for a crime I didn't do, I'm innocent, I didn't do it?
He says it a few times, but not very many.
Okay. And in what context is that? Does it sound convincing to you?
It didn't sound convincing to me. You know what? I'm going to put that in perspective. I don't think that he said he was. He talked about the boy that was not mentally fit even to stand trial, being forced by the police to confess.
Do you recall exactly?
I don't recall him.
You know.
And anything else other than that one, I don't recall him saying, I'm innocent.
But he was saying that Jesse Miskelly was innocent, or that he was forced to confess?
He was forced to confess, is what he said. He didn't say he was innocent. Right. He said he was forced to confess. That's all right. They accused me of being just like the West Memphis police. Lori called me a liar. And I don't lie about anything. I have no reason to. I've never had to lie about anything.
Any, like, spats or arguments between him and Lori or other people he was working with?
You know, like any couple, they had their spats. I mean, I saw a few. Nothing serious, but, you know, they had their spats. I would have to talk to my wife. She did more reading. She read the journals, in their entirety, plus Reddy's book in its entirety and stuff like that. She's going to sit down and read this pre-release of Devil's Knot. I don't really get into the reading of that stuff. She does, so I'm going to let her go through that, and she can tell me.
In the list of books, anything by Maury Terry or The Ultimate Evil, do you recall?
You know, I'm sending William a copy of every book that I've sold, every title of every book that I sold. And he's going to be able to go through those, and if he has any that he wants me to send the pictures I have of them, I'll blow them up, copy them, and I'll send them to him in an email so he can take a look at them.
And have
just too many pictures for me to send him everything right now.
But you've taken a real inventory and documented and photographed everything?
Yeah, everything we sold on eBay, it's all documented and it's all got photographs. That's how we sold it. Okay. And we had our write-up on them. So, I mean, I can pull up the write-up of any book I've sold, you know, as long as it's not 2 years old. They take it off by then. But in the next 6 months, it's going to be available, and if anybody, I'll help anybody I can that wants to know stuff. I had a guy wanted me to send him a poem out of one of the books that we sold, and I happen to still have that poem, and I sent him a copy of it. So that was just like a half hour, 45 minutes ago.
Okay, and William, can you think of any other questions?
Yeah, well, do you know the how long ago the storage lockers were abandoned?
Well, the one that I bought on right around the 1st of July, that one was abandoned the 1st of July.
Gotcha. So do you think somebody was paying for it, or do you think people had been in and out of there recently, or
nobody had been in and out of them at all. Gotcha. The one I got, it was a mess in there. It looked like they took some stuff out, probably because it was a rather large storage unit. But all the stuff that was left was really the important stuff. All the books and all the documents, all the journals, they were all there. So anyway, the second one, the guy contacted me. He had bought it about 4 months before I bought mine.
So they only have to be in default for 3 months, and then they can be sold. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's how it reads. It's 3 months, then they have a certain amount of time they got to wait, and they got to send out certified letters.
Right.
Tell them that they're defaulting, and that if they don't pay by a certain date, then they forfeit the unit and it's sold. And they have up to the day of the auction to pay it.
Gotcha.
So I could have drove up there from where I'm at, or down there from where I'm at, and they could have said, no, they paid everybody there. They could have been every auction, every unit that was going to be sold that day. If they all paid, you just turn around and go back. Travel for naught.
Now, the guy that sold you the second storage unit, do you think he held anything back, or he sold you everything?
He sold everything. I really believe, because if he didn't sell me everything, he's a fool. He didn't take any of the good stuff out of it, so no, I think he sold me everything.
Okay. But he didn't have any pictures and he had the pictures in his unit, or they were in your unit?
No, they were in his unit.
Oh, okay.
We were just like 2 weeks ago, we were going through the books, and I told my son, I said, you need to flip through them books, and he did, and sure enough, he found about 5 or 6 more pictures already. We already found 5 probably, and he found another group of them.
And they were all of Lori Davis, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Every one of them.
And you said, have you had any kind of backlash or any trouble since coming forward having this information?
Oh, yeah. I've gotten my fair of haters that are, and they hate to be called this, but they're fans of Damien Echols.
Yeah.
You know, the West WM3, that's their group. And, yeah, I got hit big time with a bunch of them. I mean, they just called me everything from the sun down, let me tell you.
By email, or did they call you?
Oh, emails. No. I didn't have too many call me. I would have been really rude.
Gotcha.
So
they're
of weight.
Probably the nastiest group of people that you could ever encounter. So.
Yeah, me and William, we've dealt with them too. Yeah.
I even had a lawyer that was a friend of Damien Echols' group there that was so kind to CC me to everybody involved when he asked me a question.
Interesting.
I was kind. I answered his question, and what I got for it was a bunch of garbage.
Was he from Arkansas? Was it a lawyer from Arkansas?
No, I don't think he was from Arkansas. I might have tracked him down. I really didn't like the way he did me. That's when he CC'd Lori, and Lori was in on the conversation I had with him, and she said back saying, he's just a liar. He's just like them West Memphis police, bunch of blah, blah, blah,
Interesting.
What was the name of the lawyer?
And it's so far from the truth. I helped out so many people when I was a cop. I could have took people to jail many a time. And instead I said, look here, you get somebody that's not been drinking, put him in that seat, and if I catch you in the seat, I said, you will go to jail. And they come back next day or the next weekend and thank me, and say, I have a designated driver. And it ended it for every single one of them I ever did that to. I would, follow them up to their truck and see that they were drinking and tell them, I'm going to give you a ride back down. You pick somebody up there that hasn't been drinking, and you won't go to jail today.
Do you remember the name of the lawyer who sent you the email?
I'd have to find it. I don't remember offhandedly, but I could find it.
And what was Lori upset about? That she said she called you a liar.
I said that I contacted him. And you know what I did after that? I took her email that she wrote to me, and I took the email I wrote back to her. I copied him, and I sent him back to that lawyer and told him I did not appreciate him CCing all these people and having all these people email me with their butthurt attitudes. And that was the last I heard from him. But it just really ticked me off. I'm not making this stuff up, so it's like, and I had it in writing. But she, of course, called me a bull-faced liar.
So you didn't know too much about Damien Echols or Lori Davis prior to purchasing the materials in the storage lockers, correct?
Just in the back of my mind. It didn't hit until we got back and we saw his name, and my wife looked it up and Googled it, and then it kind of dawned on me, because I retired in 1992, just as all this stuff was starting to kick off in 93.
Right.
So I remember it in the news, but I was in Texas at the time.
Gotcha.
So I was kind of far removed from it in a way.
And after going through this experience of kind of encountering them, what's your opinion of Damien Echols and Lori Davis now? Would you like to share that?
Well, my opinion, not that it matters any to anybody, is I don't really care for her, and he doesn't have my respect at all. He doesn't do anything for himself. He says that Lori handles everything. Maybe he is like out there because he spent so much time in prison. I have no idea. But I grew up, you take care of the people you love, and he's not. He's taking care of himself, and she's doing everything for him, and even she's not doing everything for him. So I have no clue. But it's like the guy that did The Hobbit, took him over to New Zealand. All these rich people just pampered the crap out of him. They took him to New Zealand. They took him to Hawaii. They took him to Disneyland. They took him all these places and paid his way because poor old him, he got put in prison. What they're not doing is they're not seeing the bigger picture. They didn't really know him, just like I didn't know him when I first started. After seeing everything that he preferred to read, I think the guy's a devil worshiper. No doubt in my mind about it. They were right in Arkansas when they said he was a devil worshiper. No doubt in my mind. And there's nothing that's going to change that just because I got that personal look into his life by every